Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. It's Grace and today I'm going to be doing the Universes Collide book tag. So I was tagged in this by Dom, whose channel I will have linked in the description. So thank you so much for tagging me. I'm not gonna lie, when I first started seeing this tag doing the rounds, I was a little bit scared to get tagged in it because I thought the questions were kind of hard. But after watching a few people do this tag, I feel like I have a better handle on the way to interpret the questions and things like that. So I'm actually kind of excited to talk about my answers right now. It's only 5 questions in this tag, so let's just get right on into it. The very first question in the tag is the switch up. Choose 2 protagonists from different series who you would like to see swap. So my 2 picks for this are going to be 2 of my favorite series, and that is going to be Locke Lamora from The Lies of Locke Lamora, the Gentleman Bastard series, and Vin from Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. And so the reason for this initially was more on Locke's side than on Vin's, because I thought that it would be really interesting to see how Locke, who is like con man extraordinaire, would be if you dropped him into the Mistborn universe and he was helping Kelsier plan the heist in book 1. But then I thought, like, we see so much character development from Vin when she's part of a team, and I started thinking it would be really interesting to see who Vin would be and how she would be as a person if she grew up with the orphans with Father Chains like Locke does in The Gentleman Bastards. So I just think that those 2 are both such interesting characters. Like, they kind of have tough exteriors, but they're very deep feeling and very like complex characters. So rather than it just being about Locke's skills than planning a heist, I think that it would honestly end up being really interesting to see how those 2 would work in like each other's respective universes. So that would be my choice. The second question is V is for Villainy. Choose a villain who you would like to see get their own story. And so for this, I'm gonna go with a Wheel of Time character because, I mean, there are hundreds of characters. There's so many for me to choose from. But the one that I'm gonna go with for this is gonna be Lanfear, who I don't think that this is a spoiler, and if it is, then it's with no context whatsoever. But Lanfear is one of the Forsaken, who is a pretty powerful individual who basically is on the dark side, but she has a pretty interesting past, and with the nature of the Wheel of Time series being the idea that ages come and pass and then they come again, she has lived for a very long time, and she, like, based on what we see of her in the books, she has had some interesting things happen to her in the past, some like explosive events and some emotional events and things like that. And she's a really interesting character to me. She seems pretty mysterious. So I feel like it would be really interesting to get her story and see what actually happened in the past, like that we get slight references to. The third question in the tag is the adaptation. Choose a character that you would like to see novelized. And so I'm going to cheat a little bit and pick 2 characters, but you will see that they are pretty much a package deal, and that is actually going to be Fox Mulder and Dana Scully from The X-Files, because I love that show, but like the more recently as I watch it, like every year that goes by, you can just see that it gets more dated. Like, I think for the early 90s, it probably looked really good, but we've come so far, and I just feel like if you put their adventures in novel form, not only would you get to explore their emotions even more, because I think that both of those characters, Mulder and Scully, are like super complex, and I love both of them. You get to explore them even more, but you would not be held back by any type of visual constraints that they had back when that show was made. And that is my primary reason for picking it, because I would love to see what they could do, like what a good writer could do, just describing their adventures, and I would love to see that unfold on a page. So, you know, even though that is like cheating a little bit, I'm picking both of them, Mulder and Scully, together. Yeah, so, you know, just have to deal with it. Okay, the fourth question in the tag is the crossover. Choose 2 characters from different universes who you would like to see interact. And for this, I have 2 recent YA reads of mine, and the reason that I chose, okay, well, first of all, I'll tell you who the characters are. It's going to be Ellie, or Alatsue, the title character of Alatsue, and then the second one is going to be Yadriel from Cemetery Boys. And so now that I've told you who the 2 characters are, the reason that I want to see them interact is because I feel like in their respective universes, they have powers that are sort of similar, but sort of different. And the reason I find it so interesting is because in Alatsue, Ellie has the ability to raise the spirits of dead animals, but they don't do it with humans because it's very dangerous, and human spirits can be violent and unpredictable, and they won't necessarily be who they were before they died, because that's just not how it works. But in Cemetery Boys, Yadriel is part of a family that harbors the power of the Brujos and the Brujas, which the Brujos deal with guiding spirits to the afterlife, human spirits. So human spirits of these magical people, they stick around, and you can interact with them, and even regular human spirits stick around, and they're normal until they go malignant. And there's not necessarily a definite timeline on how fast that happens. And the reason that I think it would be so interesting to see them interact is because of those differences in how human spirits and spirits in general work in each of these like fantasy worlds. And I think that it would be really interesting for them to talk to each other about like their respective abilities, and they might make like a really good team. Because also I just really like both of them as characters, so I think that it would be like cute and fun to see them interact with each other. The final question in the tag is the tonal shift. Choose a story that you want to switch to a different tone or genre. And so this answer I thought about for a while, and I couldn't think of a good one. And the one that I finally settled on is actually Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. And it's not because I didn't like this book. Like, I enjoyed myself with it. But there is something left to be desired for me when I read like absurdist books, because I feel like this introduces some really interesting concepts about like the end of the world that I would like to see explored more, actually in a more serious sense. Like, I want to know what happened. I want to know what actually happened. You know what I mean? And I think that I would really like to see this put together in a more traditional narrative structure and watch it unfold that way. And I guess that would just be putting more of a like urban fantasy tone on it, like almost like the show Supernatural, I guess. But it's not that I didn't like this book the way that it was, because I did. I just would have, there are things that I would have liked to see explained to me a little bit more that I just know weren't gonna be, like, because of the nature of what this book was. So that's my answer for that one. So that was the final question in this tag. It was actually pretty short and sweet, only 5 questions. And I had a lot of fun thinking of these. So I guess it's time to tag people now, but what I'm actually gonna do, because I feel like I have seen every person that I follow on YouTube do this tag already, and I'm one of the last people to do it. So what I'm gonna do is basically just do like an inclusive tag where if you see this video, yes, you in particular, and you want to do it, please feel free to do it. You can say in your video that I tagged you, and it will be true. I just don't want to tag individuals who I feel like it's going to be really hard to find people that haven't done this tag yet. And that is going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye!